starting the live stream early just to make sure that it works. So you might need to wait 5 minutes before the meeting actually starts. Hey, good morning, Danny.
Good morning, sunshine.
Thank you for taking on the Libre thing.
Oh, the Libre thing.
story of
Oh.
the domes.
Oh, yeah. It's funny because I remember telling me you'll assign things and then still do them, and I totally see why we need to stay partnered on it. Anything that I can take on, I can, but for that ordering part, you need to answer those questions. So, but we're there now.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's
Except for the
really hard.
company name thing.
It's not like any of this stuff is written down,
Exactly. We just gotta team up and get it done and take the pieces we can, but it helps for everybody to be as informed as possible.
Yeah. Hey, Michael.
Hi, how's it going?
Great.
Can't
Looks
see
like
you
we might
guys.
have a small meeting today. Oh, here we go.
Oh, it's a fellow Jitser.
Hello, fellow Jitser.
I'm gonna guess Chris.
I invited Wojtek to join our meeting today.
Oh, nice. What's Wojtek up to?
Oh, I don't know. I was just asking him questions about a GitHub issue that he posted a while ago. So seems okay. I didn't really chat.
Nice. Working on the RSK version of the DApp?
Not very much. Well, the last time I heard, he's busy with this RSK grant or contract he got, so he doesn't have much time to work on it. Apparently.
Hey, welcome to the party, Thomas. Oh, awesome. Well, I guess we can just get this party started. 6:05. So let's start with, what did we do last week? Who wants to start?
I'll start. Hi guys, can you hear me okay through Griff's computer?
Yep.
Okay. So this past week, I made a campaign for the Giveth house, and started really incorporating that into various places that can be seen and shared, and make sure that that's one angle, one regenerative angle that we're working. And I also started working with George and Oliver and Michael some more on trying to see if we can sprint this this UNICEF grant video submission into existence. So I've been planning with them a lot and kind of just diving into from afar project managing and trying to just get in there and see if we can bang that out quickly. And maybe I will go visit and help them do that. And I, wow, I didn't make a list or anything, but I have been working on Unicorn DAC stuff, as always, and I'm sure doing lots more that I don't have in my head right now, but we also are here with family, and so it's been a bit of a crazy travel weekend and meeting family expectations and stuff, which we're very lucky to have. And I will pass it to Danny. And intentions, distractions. I put up a Lumio a couple weeks ago that never really got fully discussed. I think 'cause there was so much attention on the retreat. So yeah, I want to I guess do a proposal round for that one. Even though it was met with support, I feel like it deserves some eyes on it. And then I'm not too distracted in this meeting. So, yeah.
Awesome. So I'm looking at the calendar going, dang, a week ago I was still in Barcelona. So for the last week, what I've been working on is just I did a lot of wrap up, getting out of there and traveling to get back here. I've got a milestone in draft to model off Chris's awesome milestone where he kind of summarized his participation in all the different parts of the retreat. So as I create that milestone, I'm also creating, I just hit start on one of the Lumios that I think came out of the ethics of the DAP conversation and our desire to have some agreements of code of conduct kind of thing. So I've got a proposal that I just hit, so we won't talk about that here this week. But that's the first of a couple proposals that I'll be putting up and getting that milestone complete to summarize all the great outcomes and information that came from our retreat. And then getting more and more involved in preparations for Decentral and very, very late on Reward DAO. So that's one thing we really need to do is have our scoring meeting and get that done. But I've kind of been using this time to poke a lot of different people and get their milestones up. So we have a couple of new people who created new milestones. We also have a few new people who are onboarding into the design team on the DApp side who want to contribute to us in a few ways. So getting them set up and familiar with Reward DAO too. And let's see, what else do I have on here? Thinking a lot about our goals as I've been looking at that and lining that out to how we also had a funding meeting, just Michael and I, and chatted about how we can align our Giveth goals in really clear ways to ask for some funding and support into the Giveth DAC, get some more donations directly into the Unicorn DAC, or at least get support for that. So I also have an article from Lori's writers workshop that I started, kind of mapping our Giveth governance from Reward DAO through Unicorn DAC, how we use Lumio, and also some Riot Chat bot stuff is in there too, which is kind of cool. So writing that article with a focus on what are the Giveth goals that we have and who are some collaborators doing stuff in the same space that might want to support us. Those are the things I'm working on. My intentions are to participate in this conversation with Lois proposal because I think it's really great. And my only distraction is just wanting to get this dome order finished right now. Oh, and also I quit drinking coffee. I haven't had coffee for 3 days, so I've been a little fuzzy, but I feel like I'm coming back today. And I'll pass it to Michael.
Well, I'll pass it over to Wojtek.
Hey guys, I thought I might just say hi to you.
Hey, Wojtek.
Yay.
I'll do a quick summary as well. So we've been working a lot with Blockchain for Humanity, trying to use the DApp as well. So there's some nice development there. We might even do a fundraising. Hopefully it will not be a B4H. Hopefully not. And yeah, I just wanted to say hi.
Cool.
And I pass it to whoever did not speak yet.
Well, Michael,
Maybe I'll take it. Yeah, I'll pass it back to me then. Okay, so yeah, so I've been working well, mostly DApp related stuff. So got the Lumios back on track. So you've seen those, and people are filling those out, which is fantastic. George and Andre and I went through all the old GitHub issues because we figured there's a lot of things there that maybe just could be closed or maybe not relevant because some of it was going back to like almost a year ago now. So we went through all those issues. So you can see now the issues went from like 45 to, well, 0 as of yesterday. Now there's a few. And I've been pinging a few you about just things that we weren't sure about, just to clarify if they were still issues or not. I finalized that diagram that I've been talking about in terms of our server infrastructure, and I will just put it in the wiki, but it's also for our broader onboarding documentation. I talked with Amin 2 days ago, just so he could get familiar with how we work at Giveth. So he's very keen to help us. And he's actually, once he gets the hang of things, he's actually even interested to kind of work part-time with us. So that's a potential opportunity. He was saying 10 hours, but he could potentially do more. So we'll start slow and see how it goes. Was supposed to talk to the Nepalis at 12:30 a.m. Fell asleep, so that's going to have to be postponed. Also talk to Danny. Had some great discussions about what we're going to do with the fundraising. Maybe that'll come up today if there's time. DAP meetings, preparing for that, organizing the Lumios into the DAP, communications call, this call, and then what else? And then also just doing some things last week with Marco on the design, and then also just getting those documents together. So creating I started creating the DAP administration document. So I've been spending some time thinking about that. And we've also, and things like upgrading the servers. So we made an agreement to upgrade our DigitalOcean server from 1 gig to 8 gigs of RAM, things like that. So kind of tightening the bolts on some of this sort of stuff, and also starting the process of separating kind of development from operations a little bit. So we have like Bowen and Kai kind of monitoring our servers and giving more space for Andre and George and others to focus on development. And also just doing some small bits of work on the roadmap stuff too, just getting ready for this 2.0. That's what I can remember, and I'll pass it over to Marco.
Hi, everyone. By the way, can you hear me? Because I had issues with Jitsi before.
Yeah, we hear you great.
Hear me? Oh, perfect. Now it's fine. I love it. Do we start with the intentions, distractions, and or?
Yep, intentions, distractions, and what you did last week.
Oh, perfect. Okay, so intentions actually to hear everyone and see everyone, although I see just Michael, but that's fine. Distractions, couple of ongoing projects I need to take care of. Cleaning my desk at the current company where I work and shifting new jobs, so that's a little bit of distractions. And it's super hot over here and humidity is high. And what I did last week was there? I can't remember. Michael, we had a meeting, right?
Last week we did. We didn't have one this week.
Oh, last week we had a meeting. This week I actually onboarded a new designer. It's a friend of mine who worked with me at the company, so she's a more visual designer. She will be helping us with some graphic design, visual design stuff, but also she's a growing UI and UX designer as well. So I do hope that she will be able to contribute. What else? Shared some docs to Nicolene. By the way, is she on the call today? No? Yeah? No?
No.
No? And what else? That's all, I think. Yeah. Yep.
Nice.
That's all.
Well, I can take it on then. Good to see you, Marco.
Good to hear you, Griff.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We're it's early morning on the West Coast, so
no worries.
But yeah, I'm distracted by all the awesome faces that we have here: Wojtek, Marco, and and the mysterious Thomas. Very cool. This week, actually, for me, so that's the only thing I'm distracted by. And my intentions for the meeting are just to facilitate a good meeting and talk about the 2 Lumios we have. But yeah, this week has been pretty distracting in general. Lots of family stuff. I had one sister graduate from college, the other sister graduate from high school, and both my brothers have birthdays this week, so it's been like a major family week. That plus Decentral has been coming into full swing this week. Got lots of people onboarded. delegating them to tasks, explaining how what needs to be done, buying domes, buying shade structures, getting bikes figured out. It's just been a wild ride for sure. So Decentral's in full swing. And then there's actually been some talks with DAppNode about doing a bonding curve. So that's pretty cool. I'm really excited about trying to get them to do that on Giveth, and I'm just also mentoring them on how it's being done. So that's interesting. Also, talking to Danny and Jem after this about making a Giveth integration for the token bonding curve. So that'll be cool. Obviously, there's a lot of common stack stuff. Getting the launch roadmap together and figuring out all the budget stuff. It's been a lot of numbers, and that stuff always sucks. So, but it's good. We're finally getting there. We're so close. I've been reviewing some articles on conviction voting, and did KYC, and like just really pushing through all the details for what is all the stopping points from getting us to start asking for money for the common stack. So that's really cool. Also, I applied for DevCon Builder application or whatever. I hope everyone who wants to go to DevCon also applies. They have a sweet scholarship thing, so they could even pay for your flights, which I think Marco, you might be able to pull that off too. So like, because you're active in lots of community scenes, so definitely check out the DevCon's website. I think it's devcon.ethereum.org. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But they have scholarships for. They have a builder discount on tickets, and then they have a scholarships for people who are really active in the community but don't have the funds to get out.
Oh, cool. Because I actually didn't want to go to DevCon because it's like too far away, and it's super expensive for me from here. But hey, I'm gonna check it out.
I mean, the Ethereum, yeah, exactly. Ethereum has I think they earmarked $3 million on developer relations. So I'm sure some of it will go towards sponsoring people to show up at DevCon. Let's see.
Okay.
What else? I don't know. I did lots of little things. I don't think there was a whole lot of big Giveth work other than just coordinating and advising and empowering other people to make decisions and get things done. So, yeah. And I'll pass it to Thomas if he wants to try.
Sure. Yeah, I received the link from Kai. I was talking to him today, and he said, "Well, join the community call." And I was a couple of weeks ago. I was talking about common stack and possibility of carbon offset fund and using bonding curves in that respect. So I was following the the paper and reading up on bonding curves and basically into what you guys do and followed that one closely. Kai is rather close to me, so I'm from the Lab 10. We are in Graz in Austria, so we just recently met in Vienna with Kai. So that's the connection, and yeah, happy to be on the call. I hope I'm not disturbing, and it's not something kind of internal where I'm rather not appreciated.
No, you're more than welcome. Do you have any intentions or distractions for the meeting?
Well, I didn't get the meeting intentions out for the meeting. Intention distraction. Meaning intention for itself.
Do you have any intentions for joining us that you want to share? And is there anything distracting you that you want to talk about?
Okay, intentions. Well, intention is, which I would like to share is, well, we are trying to do or we are actually running a second layer of blockchain system connected to Ethereum, and our intention is to make it feasible for energy and mobility services. That's a upcoming funding issue. Our intention is to raise money in autumn and next year. Distractions is that my distractions are too many things on the plate to do, and too many interesting stuff to look at. That's I hope I understood it right from a sharing perspective.
Yeah, that works fine. So yeah, just a couple logistics. Thomas, since it's your first meeting, you probably won't participate in the Lumio discussions because we have a pretty solid format that we follow, and what we do is we make sure that the first time someone comes to everyone's welcome in the community meetings, but for their first run, they just have to kind of like listen and watch so they can see how it goes, and then in their next one they can be part of the reaction rounds and all of that. So we just skip Thomas for the Lumio discussions, and then we only have 2 Lumios to talk about. The first one is just the standard weekly DApp prioritization. Marco, thank you for voting in the last one, and last one had a lot of action. This one definitely could use some more action, so don't be shy. Get in there.
I voted.
Looks like all of us voted, though.
I voted.
Yeah.
Yeah, just half an hour ago or something like that.
Yeah, it looks like Marco, Michael, and Danny have voted. Lorelai and I haven't, but so we need to definitely get in on that. And if anyone else has any issues for the DApp that they want to add in, don't be shy to help Michael prioritize. But the real Lumio that we have is Unicorn DAC timing. So I'll just let Lorelai take it away. Do you want to unmute and I'll mute?
Sure. Can I have this one, please? Okay. I actually do a little question about the issue prioritization. Like, I'm curious if we're on pace with keeping track of things in the right place. Like Marco might be doing a big like UX thing, or at least someone will. I know there will be a lot of like UX overhaul in the future. So I'm curious if the way that we're like when we make issues now, are we keeping that in mind and like tagging them properly and stuff?
So so Marco had suggested a whole bunch of new labels for the design stuff. So I created those labels for him. And we've started to tag some of them in that manner. And we've also created kind of a separate board just for design issues. I try to tag these. You'll see like in this Lumio, they're tagged in 3 ways now. It used to be 2, but now it's design related, bug related, and feature related. And then we just prioritize those accordingly. Of course, it tends to be that the bugs get a little bit of higher prioritization, but certainly if a design or feature request went to the top of the Lumio, we'll definitely discuss that in the DApp meeting.
Okay, cool. Yeah, well, please, like, if any of us are slow to it, I know I make issues sometimes that I'm just like, I need to just get it out there, and if I can be better with like organizing them or making it clear who they go to, or educate
if I may just. Yeah, can I say something?
I think actually I'm gonna.
Marco.
Yeah. Go ahead, Marco.
Just about these issues on the GitHub, we have this label. So if you are uncertain whether it's a usability or UX or whatever type of issue, just leave it blank. Ping me or whoever, and I can, if I have permissions, I can just put a label on that.
Okay, cool. Sounds good. All right, so I have this proposal that I put out about 2 weeks ago when we were in Barcelona at the retreat to change the Unicorn DAC pay period from 1 week to 2 weeks. And so the tension, the problem that led me to that was that like it takes kind of like days and days to delegate these every week between like making DApp issues and having to wait for them to be fixed and making sure that there was enough money in the Unicorn DAC in everybody's name to delegate all of these like things that just took days to get through the technicalities of this, and I noticed it was a lot faster if I did more delegations at once, because I could kind of do that several days process only twice a month instead of 4 times a month. So this is a proposal to change the policy officially to being a 2-week schedule on that. And it's been talked about already. There was support on the Lumio, but I think there were some details to hash out, which we talked about in the unicorn meeting this week, and I came up with just some more details to this that I'm going to tell you guys now. So this is like fleshing out this proposal. So how this will work technically is that I will delegate on the first and third Mondays of the month. And that way it gives contributors a reliable date to know that they have to get their milestones in before the 10th and the 25th. And if they get they'll know that way if they get the milestone in before the 10th or the 25th, they will almost for sure make it in that pay period. And then we would keep the weekly structure of the spreadsheet. So that way on those odd months when there is a 5th Monday, that like last week doesn't get lost or anything. So people still go and break it out by like 600s per week. And so like if there was a 5th Monday 1 month, then, on the first Monday of the next month, I would end up delegating 3 weeks worth. So like 1,800 die from each unicorn. And the other little part of this is that this will allow me, it'll open up some time in my schedule to do some much needed like progress work on the Unicorn DAC. We've been kind of frozen in a draft state of like keeping all the back end of this on a spreadsheet, and I would like to repurpose those few hours per month towards actually either constructing an Aragon DAO where you guys can delegate your own funds so you don't have to rely on me, or some solution like that. So that's the proposal. And does anybody have clarifying questions?
Doesn't sound like it.
Cool. Reactions. Danny, would you like to react? Oh, you look a little frozen, actually.
I'm here.
Yeah, you're good.
Can you hear me all right?
Yeah,
Okay.
you're
So so from a reaction standpoint, the first thing I'm thinking about is that you're going to do the delegations on the first and third Mondays, which means having the spreadsheet completed. So we as unicorns need to have our delegations done on that first and third Sunday, which means that people proposing their milestones need to remember that you need to have those milestones in before delegations happen by the unicorns, not just by that Monday for you. So that's the first thing that I'm just thinking of, is we need to remember to back up a couple of days on milestone creation from that delegation date that you're talking about. Other than that, everything about this, I think, is a good improvement, especially freeing up time for you to focus on how to evolve this into the next stages that we originally envisioned when creating it. So I'm all for it, and also for any way that I can help in evolving this and contributing to bringing it closer to how we see it being useful. And I'll pass it to Michael.
So I think it's an excellent idea. I just think anything that cuts down on administration or streamlines administration makes so much sense. And I totally agree. Like, there's already kind of like, because of the way the process works in terms of because of the bugs and the delays and the sort of the bridge delay, having that 2-week window just makes so much more sense. So yeah, I don't have much to add. I totally support this, and I'll pass it to Marco.
Yeah, I will just say +1 to everything that you said. After reading the proposal, it perfectly makes sense. And you're referencing to the 2 weeks payroll schedule, which I enjoy currently in my company. So it's great, and especially cutting down some hours of work and being more effective, more efficient makes a little sense. So +1 from my end. I'm not sure who else is there.
Yeah, I can go.
Griff.
Yep.
Griff.
Obviously, this is a great proposal. I hope that it comes with like a standard of reminding people, because it seems a little like first and third Mondays, like who's going to follow that in their head? We need to have some sort of standard of like every time the week before the delegations at the community meeting, there's a big announcement. There's a maybe an at room in the Unicorn channel or something like that as well that follows those things, so that we can make sure that people remember. And then my other question is about the on that first Monday, sometimes there'll be 3 weeks of delegation, I assume, and just how does that exactly work? Yep. Like, how do we know if it's 3 weeks or 2 weeks, or are we doing that? Yeah. Is there any other? I think that's everyone, right? Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thanks for the reactions and support, guys. So to respond to Danny, I did incorporate the backing up some days. Originally, I was thinking, we'll tell people they should get their milestones in before the 15th and 30th. But then I was like, well, okay, there could be some months where the third Monday is actually like the 15th. So I backed it up 5 days on each of those. So we'll tell people the 10th and 25th. If you get your milestones in by then, you will be good. And then to amend or integrate Griff's suggestion, I totally agree. Reminders are necessary, and I would like someone to help me out with this. So I will be putting it out in the Unicorns room to see who would like to assist in that repetitive task. And yeah, I don't think there's anything else that needs to be integrated. And so, any objections? It sounds like there were no objections. Okay, proposal passed.
Proposal passed. Okay, so then fireside chat. We got 23 minutes. Just curious if anyone has any topics that they want to add to the agenda.
I do.
Yeah.
Although I'm kind of nominating Danny for this too, but the fundraising I thought would be good to talk about.
Okay, nice. Any other topics?
I would be happy to talk about the Lumio I just proposed, if anybody wants to hear more about that. The ethics code of conduct.
Cool.
Oh yeah.
Okay. If there's no other agenda topics, then let's get started. Fundraising. Go for it.
So I know Danny, you're gonna put some Lumios up as well. We talked about on Monday, but just to sort of summarize a little bit more deeply. So we had this call on Monday, and part of it is, we're trying to rethink of how we do the fundraising. So, so one of the things I think, and Danny, jump in at any point, is just thinking about more integration of fundraising into like this community call, and also a little bit on the communications call, because well, we haven't had a lot of people attend the fundraising meeting directly, so part of it I think can just get people more involved, but also looking at it from a different angle, from just like grant making, but more actionable things that relate to your circle. And I think Danny's going to take a more active role in the fundraising side. So we've actually canceled the fundraising meeting on Monday at the moment, and that may be revisited. But I think it's sort of like Danny's just going to understand the sort of the landscape first of all of this before maybe reinvigorating that particular meeting and kind of do it in other ways. The other thing to mention too is we did create in that fundraising spreadsheet. I'm happy to put the link in the chat. We created kind of a new spreadsheet sort of related to sort of the circles. And so I think one of the first things is just to look at that kind of low-hanging fruit, things that can be actionable in the very near term from the Glass Frog, and kind of get that in one spot. So Danny, I sort of am talking for you a little bit, but I just thought it was an important topic to bring up. So I don't know if you have anything to add there.
No, I appreciate you doing that and reminding me. I just flipped back to the notes that I had. My brain's in just a different place, so I didn't have my thoughts organized. But really, I mean, the first thing I want to say is every time I hear the word fundraising, it makes me flinch a little bit, and I really just want to like shift our mindset around that a little bit. Just like how Griff, you're always talking about how donors lose. Fundraising makes people cringe a little bit, and I really want to shift that into what are the goals and the things that we're working on that we can celebrate and talk about, and ask people if they care about it to donate to those of us who are working on those things. So a while back we talked about what are the causes, what are what DACs do we want to have started that people care about. So as I've been working on this little governance article, thinking about, we in the Unicorn DAC are making our decisions on what to fund. We've decentralized the decision making about who to fund, because who's working on the things that are helping us achieve our goals. And so picking that up another level, I guess, is what I'm thinking about, is what are the things that we're working on, who's working on them, getting that page up that says, these are the people, here's our headshots, here's our retreat, here's our goals, here's what each of us is working on. And we'd really like to onboard some givers. We're all givers. What are the things that you support in the world? What would you use our DApp to support? So this is just where my thought process has been as I've been kind of writing this out, going and thinking, shift my focus to onboarding donors to find out what they care about, so we can make sure that we're supporting our goals and supporting the people who are working on those goals in Giveth. So that's kind of the outcome of Michael and I's conversation, is by really talking about Giveth and the governance processes that we've developed and the experiments that we're using, some of those outcomes, and then identifying donors who want to support those goals. And they can do that by giving to the DAC. And I don't know if we really want to be asking people to donate directly to the Unicorn DAC instead of the Giveth DAC. That's kind of a question in my mind. If anybody wants to talk about that a little bit, I'd like to stop talking for a moment.
Yeah, I can throw in 3 points. Number one, I love the idea of getting rid of the word fundraising. It is a cringeworthy word. I think we've been. It was brought up. I really like the term regenerative, and that we need to be sustainable and regenerative. These are concepts everyone agrees with, and there's ways to do that really effectively. Like Kai is going to bridge a Decentral chat room, and Decentral is going to pay him $250, and he gets $150 and $100 will be a donation to the Giveth DAC. One of the things that helps be regenerative is getting the optional fee in the milestone thing, where it's like, hey, would you like to donate to the Giveth DAC? That hasn't been a GitHub issue yet. Eventually I'll make one if it doesn't show up, but like I would love to see that. I think that's a core feature that we can add in. I don't know when it's right to add it in, but it's definitely something that we should start considering. The other thing is onboarding donors is a huge thing that will if we can help donors get what they need, maybe they'll donate to us, but that can be a side benefit. I mean, just getting people to use the platform will also bring value to the platform, and people will want to sustain it, is a theory, especially if we have that fee in there. And and I had a third. Donating to the Unicorn DAC. I think until we actually have real donation streams going, just donating to the Giveth DAC is probably a fine way to go, or donating directly to the multisig if people have problems donating. Like this guy at the Giveth house, Dan Shields. I don't know exactly why he can't donate on the DApp, but I guarantee if we just gave him an address, he would be able to send Ether or DAI to it. So like, while I want user traffic on the DApp, and I think we all do, in the end, if someone's trying to donate and they're having a hard time, we gotta just make it easy. That's the goal of the DApp anyway. If they're trying to use their phone, or they're trying to do something that for some reason our DApp just doesn't work for them, that address should be thrown out really quickly. And that's our multi-sig address, which I can grab for a second in a second. But it's easy to donate to the multi-sig address, and then the multi-sig address can donate to the Giveth DAC or to the Unicorn DAC, or however it goes. Yeah, on the Unicorn DAC, it's like right now it's a hefty burn rate of around about 20 grand a month. So unless we start pulling in somewhere around 20 grand a month, because not only that, there's also a lot of donations that come from outside of that to keep everything going. So it's like, might as well just throw it to the Giveth DAC until we start getting some real numbers that it matters. And also, mostly because the Unicorn DAC is organized in such a way where you need to donate in someone's name so we can track which unicorn is spending it. So it's more of a logistical thing. But until we actually figure out a way to get a DAO that can be the delegate of that DAC, it's really hard to trace which unicorn sent money where, and sing praise for that. So yeah, those are my thoughts on fundraising.
Cool.
And Thomas, I wanted to say I want to add another item to the agenda, which is the common stack strategy to make it so that non-devs can do things with the token mining curve stuff. So I'm glad you don't leave. I swear, I got good things for you.
So Griff, I added those 2 issues to the GitHub.
Oh, nice. Okay, awesome.
While you were talking.
Well, that's great. Well, okay. Yeah. Do you have something to say, Marco?
Yeah, I heard something while you were talking, and you said like if I'm on a mobile and I can't obviously donate because I don't have MetaMask and it doesn't work, I should be thrown the multi-sig address, right?
Yeah.
Can we do that for overall throughout the whole app for donations? And then just for the campaign owner or milestone creator or whoever, they should actually open up a laptop and go to desktop and manage their account or whatever. And if I just want to donate, I just send, like, you just pop up a whatever address, a QR code or whatever, and they just link to whatever wallet I have installed on my iPhone, my mobile phone.
I mean, I think that's a great.
Is that a good workaround that we can do?
Yeah, I mean, for the time being, eventually, I hope that we can do a trustless thing. We just have to make sure that the text around that kind of thing would say, "Hey, any donation to this address is no longer traceable. It's not using the Giveth app. You're just supporting this directly, and there's no accountability behind it. As long as there's like some, but you can donate to this address and it will go to the person. And then we just prompt the campaign owner, the milestone owner, or the and the DAC owner to just like put in that address. And then if that has a prompt when the milestone DAC or campaign are being created, then we can just add that in as a little note, like underneath the donation box, right? Like, or I guess it depends. Like the details there would need to be worked out on whether or not we sense if there's a Web3 thing, and then we give this donation box, or if there's no Web3 sense, then we give the text, that has the donation address.
Michael,
I think it's a great workaround.
Michael, you're taking notes about this. Can we make an issue out of that?
Yeah, I've kind of made an issue already, but I'll add to the issue.
Can you just add his notes as well? And then also one thing what we can do is if there's no Web3, if a user isn't mobile, we can actually add some sort of a button saying like, hey, remind me, or send me an email or whatever, and then I'll do that later when I'm on my desktop or my laptop. So we can do that thing as well until the technology is mature enough that we can handle this stuff on mobile phones. So
that's a great idea, Marco.
So I'd like to just Michael, if you can just make a note about that, and then I'll take it from there.
Okay. Yep.
Okay. Well, I want to move to ethics Lumio so that we can get through the last 2 points. What you got, Annie?
So I was trying to find the YouTube link and I didn't find it yet because I have distractions. But we had a great conversation, a great panel, fishbowl, on ethics of the dApp. We had a lot of great ideas. We've been talking about this. There's been a GitHub issue for over a year now out there about how to address who will take money from, what are our codes of conduct. And right after we had that session, I got an email back from the chapter organizer for Radical Exchange. And in it were 2 documents. One of them was their chapter guidelines for a new community, and the other was a code of conduct. And Lorelei and I read through it and really, really appreciated a lot of the language in it. I did a little digging and realized that the code of conduct that they're using is a open source forkable document with Creative Commons licensing. So it seemed like a easy, low-hanging solution to an ongoing question to follow that model and create, we can modify that code of conduct document, fork it, make it our own, see if we need to have anything separate around our community guidelines. But it's basically like a terms of service, right? And when I wrote up the Lumio, my thoughts are that this is something we want to adapt for everything from participating in our online forums, using the Giveth House, our in-person activities, representing Giveth at events and in our communications, both internal and external, using the dApp, creating a profile, being a Giveth collaborator, and even potentially down to donating to Giveth. So we all see the little checkbox. I agree to the terms of service for use. Usually they're really long. I think we could come up with something concise and clear based on these templates that express the values of our community so that anybody who's interacting with us knows what they're in for and understands that if they violate these terms or we identify conflicts, But we at least have a process to say, yeah, we've talked about this. This is what we've agreed to. And then have some, what was the term for sanctions? Building in just a little bit of sanctions around that to say, no, if you don't play nice with us, this is these are the consequences that we'd have for that.
Yeah, graduated sanctions is always the goal.
Graduated sanctions, that's the thing. Yeah. So I felt like this was an easy starting point to build that into our community and create an agreement field for how we play with each other and how people know to interact with us and what will happen if they don't.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten to read that terms of service yet, but it looks good. Or I'm excited to see it, and it sounds good.
Yeah, so in the Lumio, I put a link to the template that is out there in Forkable, and then I also attached Radical Exchange's modified version so we can take a look at what they have and determine what goes for us. So this first proposal is just, yes, we need this. Should it pass, then the second step would be to form a small working committee. I'm hoping Lorelei, of course, would want to play on that, and maybe Chris from a communication standpoint, come up with our own language and then propose that for review and acceptance. And then the third step would be to actually post it and create links so that when people join our communities, they are asked to go take a look at it.
Cool. Sounds good. Yeah, and I guess it's Illumio for next week, right?
Yeah, I wanted to have that done yesterday, but I didn't get it done till
honestly, that's like great because it sounds like there's a lot of reading involved, so it's good to give people like a whole week.
Yeah, for sure. And then I guess one last topic, the Common Stack narrative and like strategy. And I think Thomas will especially be excited about this. Our goal is to launch 6 commons and to gather enough funding to launch 6 commons that will iterate on each other. And so the idea is that the first one would be like a field test for the augmented bonding curve. And then the second one would be a field test for the Giveth DApp. And then the third one would be a field test for conviction voting. Of course, that third one will have the token bonding curve and the Giveth DApp in it, and it will just add in conviction voting for that third launch. And then the fourth one will be one more systems launch where we just do improvements on all 3 of those. And then the fifth commons is trying to go mobile first, have like a full UX overhaul and like just focus on user experience. And then the 6th one, and then the 6th one is really focus on easy deployment and improving the user experience even further so that we can do this for non-tech projects. And that's the goal that we're going to try to get to, is to get to the place where we could use it for, carbon offsets or protecting a river or a local community center, these kinds of things. And that would be if we can get all the way to the end and get enough funding to do 6 full iterations that we're running, and we would imagine that other people would fork our code and like also do various iterations, so we'd be building off way more than just 5 experiences to get there. But I think we can do it. So that's the current plan. Thomas, are you still there? Did you have?
I just listened. So yeah, sounds interesting. So is it still the long-term plan of like 3 to 5 years, or what's the take on that? If you want to do 5, 6 iterations.
Yeah, even just to get the first iteration off will take us at least 8 months. And we're like assuming that we raise all the money in the first year, then it'd be about 3 years, or at least like we would have budget for 3 years of constant development and focus on that end goal.
Mm.
So yeah, 3 years. I mean, in the end, people can try it, and like once we have one of them done, I mean, even before that, I hope to get token bonding curves integrated into Giveth. It's just that I wouldn't expect them to work well for about 3 years for non-devs, right? For for like a normal community center type group to participate in this sort of thing, man, we're just so far off. I can't even get like my tech friends to donate to the DApp, right? Like
yeah, well, it's pretty certain that we will work on, let's say, similar or no simpler implementations of whatever kind of getting there solutions without kind of the complexity what you introduce with a token bonding curve and understanding kind of the interesting part of a token bonding curve. And I would not say I fully grasped it, that can work, will be understood, and so on. So basically, my thing is that we will also do experiments towards renewable energies, communities, funding of investments, and it might not necessarily involve a token bonding curve kind of connected kind of way of doing it. But nevertheless, if it can be extended by something like a working way of using token bonding curve with kind of alignment of all the kind of participants within the game, it would be really awesome.
Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, I'm glad that you are pushing forward on this, because we need as many people going forward to try to bring, some value into this space of like things that are nonprofits, right? So, generally considered nonprofits. Like one of the things I've been really kind of talking about lately, just with my friends, I guess, is like this idea of being able to create financial assets and the value that that brings to organizations. When someone creates a stock, they're literally creating money out of nothing. If they do an IPO, they're literally just saying, hey guys, give me $1 million, I'll give you this paper for that $1 million, and I'll create more paper for myself that's worth $2 million. So they just literally are creating $3 million out of nothing. And that puts the for-profit world, the large corporate for-profit world, at a huge advantage. And in the current economic models where there's all these externalities that the for-profits can take advantage of, it's just an incredible barrier to overcome. And so, we need to put these externalities, we need to give them a market, we need to give them value, right? And because they have value, but they're just not given value in our current economic models. And if we can also give them this power of being able to create a financial asset and create value where it didn't exist before, just like companies have, then it can be on equal playing fields, and people will have the choice. They won't have to go against their own best interest to support projects that are supporting renewable energy, or cleaning up nature, or supporting those that are at least less fortunate in our society. That overcoming that burden of incentivization will be huge, and all it takes is just the ability to create financial assets for altruistic causes and put them on a level playing field as companies. So it doesn't need a token bonding curve. The token bonding curve just solves a lot of the problems of liquidity and these other issues that come up when you do a small market cap financial asset. But in the end, we just need to get going on it. So I'm glad you're pushing it forward, man.
Thank you. So, well, I would be interested in some opinions, because we were discussing if I'm able to put something in here. So is it okay if I ask for some opinions on investments or donations regarding carbon offset?
Yeah, I mean, I would say you get better response in the general channel because there's only 4 of us here. So you know, if you put those down in text, then there'll be better responses for sure. Because I think there's a lot of people that are interested in these sorts of things in our channel. But yeah, well, we're 4 minutes over, so I should really let everyone go. But thank you guys. Good meeting. I'll just do a quick closing round. Great meeting. See you guys. I'll pass it to Lorelai.
Yeah, that was nice and efficient, and nice to see these faces that are not so often. And I'll pass it to Marco.
Thank you. Great meeting. Especially love the last one thing from Common Stack that Giveth was talking about. Super excited about that as well. Thanks, everyone. See you on the next one. Pass it on to Danny.
Yeah, thanks everybody. I just want to say, in the future of giving, we're all givers. So you asked what another word for fundraising was, and I say giving. That's the note I want to end on. Is appreciate everything everybody's giving, and let's show how awesome and fun it is, so everybody wants to give with us. And I'll pass it to Michael.
Yeah, great call. Love the idea of getting rid of the term fundraising. And yeah, I also agree. I love the Common Stack conversation, especially at the very end. I think that's exactly right. That's exactly what the world needs right now. And that's it for me. Thomas?
Thank you for having me on.
Oh no, you just got muted. Thomas, no. Now you're back.
Yeah, I'm back. Sorry. Yeah, thank you for having me on the call. Thank you for sharing or letting me share some thoughts and listening to what you guys have to discuss. And yeah, I really enjoyed it, and hope to see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Thomas. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Thomas.
You guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Cheers. Bye-bye.